Assalamu alaikum. You're tuned in to PTV World for this very special transmission. I'm your host Rida Shah, and today we're celebrating the birthday of Pakistan. On this day in 1947, Muslims of the subcontinent acquired their separate homeland so that they could practice their religion freely. But the vision of the founder of Pakistan, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, was beyond that. In his Constituent Assembly address on 11th of August 1947, he said, "You are free. You're free to go to your temples, you're free to go to your mosques, you're free to go to any other places of worship in the state of Pakistan. You may belong to any color, caste or creed that has nothing to do with the business of the state." Well, that was the message of the founding father of Pakistan, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and this is what we're here to celebrate. We're here to celebrate diversity, we're here to celebrate inclusivity, we're here to celebrate the white in our flag. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our distinguished guest that has joined us today, and we have to celebrate what they have done for Pakistan. So first of all, we have with us His Excellency Archbishop Joseph Urshid. He received the National Human Rights Award in 2016 for his services, and he is officially installed as Archbishop, Bishop of Islamabad, Rawalpindi Diocese. He has also composed national songs and is an incredible writer. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you.
Then we have with us Mahesh Ahuja, who is a visionary IT professional with over 20 years of experience in management sector in private and public sectors. He is currently working with OPF as a Director IT and Education. He has worked with renowned organizations such as UNDP, HEC, Dawn News and the Ministry of Information Technology. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. Then we have with us Dr. Nirmal Daniel, who's a young, dynamic individual and an aspiring doctor who completed her MBBS from China. Now she has come back to Pakistan and will be pursuing her education here. Thank you so much, Dr. Nirmal, for being with us. Before we begin our conversation with our esteemed guest, we will show you a brief report highlighting the contribution of these communities in the progress and prosperity of Pakistan.
Pakistan came into being to be a place where Muslims can live their lives according to Islamic beliefs. But it was not to be a country where people of other religions were to be discriminated against. The white color in Pakistan's flag is a testimony that it is a country for all religions. And Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah made it very clear. Ever since Pakistan's creation, every citizen, regardless of their religious beliefs, has contributed to the development, prosperity, safety and protection of this land. With Muslims, non-Muslims also have been guaranteed equal rights and opportunities. And they have equally contributed to what Pakistan is today, a diverse, inclusive place for all religious minorities. Pakistan's minorities have been part of the guardians protecting our borders. They have been contributors in chalking out our laws and dispensing justice. They have a huge contribution in Pakistan's art, culture, sports, education, as well as our business and industry. The aim of celebrating August 11 as Minority Day is to reassure every single Pakistani that their diversity is celebrated in this land of the pure. This is Ali Andaz reporting for PTV World.
Sir, let's start with you, His Excellency. We know that Christian community played a vital role in Pakistan movement. They stood by Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah because they believed in an inclusive and a diverse country where every religion had the freedom to practice their religion. So can you briefly describe the role Christian community played in making of Pakistan?
Well, in the freedom movement where our Muslim brothers and sisters, they struggled, their other minorities, they became part of this struggle. And the Christians, they played also a vital role in the freedom movement. First of all, when the founder of Pakistan, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, started this movement, All India Christian Association, they fully supported Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah in this freedom struggle. Later on, when the Lahore Resolution in 1940 was passed, the Christian community and the Christian leaders, they fully supported that resolution. Later on, the leaders of Punjab Assembly, SP Singha and other Joshua Fazaldi and other companions, they also supported Pakistan, the independence of Pakistan. Hence, from the beginning, when the struggle was started, the Christian leaders, they supported Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and the freedom movement of Pakistan. Even later on, we see that the first army chief, they were two Christians, Sir Frank and later on Sir Douglas. So from the beginning, the Christian community played a very vital role in the freedom movement and later on for building up the nation and the country, Pakistan.
That is absolutely correct. Their services are commendable and must not be forgotten. That is why we need to highlight the services of the Christian community in making sure that Pakistan came into existence. So, Sir Mahesh, we're moving on to you. If we talk about your achievements, as I've described in the introduction, you've done a lot of services. You've contributed 20 years of your life in this, in building up the country. So how would you describe your journey? We would love to hear about it.
Thank you very much. In fact, basically, being a Pakistani, because my grandforefathers, they belong to the Sindh, and we have the inner relationship with the Pakistan. So I'm proud Pakistani over here. So when we achieve something on behalf of the Pakistan, it gives us the satisfaction. As if you are asking my own journey, that I started my career in 1993 as just a young software developer, and starting from then I realized that if I contribute towards the prosperity of the Pakistan, it gives me more satisfaction. Just because my land is this, my grandforefathers, they belong to this land, and whatever I can contribute toward the prosperity of Pakistan, that gives me the satisfaction. The journey could be very long, but the specific instance I just want to share with you over here is that when I went to the University of London as a Chevening scholar, we were the two Pakistanis in that university. When we sit over there with the students of the different countries or the teachers of the different countries, we were recognized as the Pakistanis, not as the Hindu, not as the Muslims. So that was the pride for us, basically, that we two Pakistanis, they came from the Pakistan as the British scholars, and they are getting the education with the funding from the Home Department of the United Kingdom. That was the prime time at that time when I realized that my inner satisfaction would come more if I go back, if I work for the Pakistan and for the government of Pakistan more specifically, it is more important for me. And during my entire career, because as you introduced me that I had worked with the private as well as the government organization, but believe me, if you ask me, more of the achievements for the government of Pakistan. And whenever anything I accomplish, I complete, and the milestone is achieved, then I thought it is in the interest of the government, which is the pride for me as well.
You're absolutely right, because Pakistan is our identity, and we should always keep that in mind whenever we are, even if we're pursuing education outside of the country, we should also always have that sense that the identity is given to us by our nation, and it is very important to give back to the community. So Dr. Nirmal, you came back after pursuing your MBBS from China. You made the conscious decision of returning to Pakistan and serving the country as a doctor. So what was going on in your mind? What motivated your decision?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to say that I am very honored and privileged to be called citizen of Pakistan. So secondly, I would say that wherever we go, our identity is Pakistani. We will be called Pakistani. Our ID card or our passport, it will always be written that we are Pakistani. So this is the thing. And thirdly, I would say that wherever we go, our heart stays with Pakistan. So Pakistan is our home and we love our country. So I would like to give it back to Pakistan and serve my country. And I am very proud to be Pakistani.
So what degree do you plan on specialization on?
I'm planning to be a pediatrician.
Oh, so you like kids?
Yeah.
Okay, so it will be fun working with them.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Okay, so that is very interesting. We have an upcoming pediatrician and we are honored to have her here with us on our show. So sir, His Excellency, we know that you are an incredible composer and you have composed national songs as well that invokes a sense of patriotism in the people whosoever hears it. So can we hear something from you in that regard?
Oh, well, I would like to say, first of all, from the student life, I was interested in literature very much. And then I served as a diplomat in the Holy See. eh. And when I was abroad, serving in different countries, the more I was abroad in different countries, the feeling and the sense that Pakistan is my country was much more in my heart. And that made me write the poetry and compose these national songs.
That is very interesting.
So one of the composition that is the vision of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, his speech. On that speech, I did the poetry and composed one song that is sung by Janab Ghulam Abbas, the famous singer of Pakistan. So I will just sing
Yeah, sure,
little
definitely.
phrase. मेरे कायद का फरमा है सबका पाकिस्तान झूमती वादियाँ बहते दरिया ये है गुलिस्तान मेरे कायद का फरमा है. That's it.
That is beautiful. Oh my God, I want to clap. It was really nice. And you know, Milli Naghmes and national songs, they invoke a sense of patriotism in all of us. I always get goosebumps when I hear something like Dil Dil Pakistan or anything like that. So I think it is very important for our younger generation to also have fresh music, fresh national songs that can invoke that sense of patriotism that we felt when we were growing up. So sir, moving on to you, Mr. Mahesh, if we talk about how we celebrate Independence Day, as you were young and you were growing up, so what are your fondest memories regarding this day? How did you used to celebrate this day in particular?
When I do recall, then when we were in the universities or in my early studies, we have the gatherings of the students. We gather somewhere, sometimes at the night. We have the what we call it a bonfiring, and then we start singing the songs and singing the song in a crazy way.
Okay.
Because nobody is there, we are just sitting on a bonfire, 4 or 5 students, and everybody is allowed to do whatever they want to do.
Right.
So with all that craze, for the Independence Day, we celebrate. We used to celebrate that. That was my early age. But when I started my married life, I have the kids right now, so I am more dependent upon my kids, how they celebrate. And their way of celebration is more crazy than us.
Really?
What we did basically, now they are more crazy about. You know, they are not even in a position to wait for the 14th August. On the 13th August in the night,
Yeah.
they go into the market.
After 12 a.m.
After the 12 a.m. They said, we can't sit in the home. We have to go out. Either you are going with us or not. Being the father, I sometimes become very scratchy because, you know, in the market there are a lot of rush. You are my kids. Something will happen. They said, oh, no, we will not listen to you. This is the Independence Day. We have to celebrate it. We don't want to miss every minute of this Independence Day celebration, and we have to go with them.
Yeah,
and the
definitely.
way they celebrate, believe me, I forget my craziness, which I used to tell everybody. Right now, it's a kids' day, and they are more crazy about celebrating
Right.
with them.
And do they use firecrackers and
Exactly.
big flags?
The
and
big flags, and their target is basically that our flag must be the bigger from all the other cars, basically.
Okay.
So in that particular search, we find everywhere that where is the bigger flag. Then accordingly, we buy the more bigger than that.
Okay.
That's their, I mean,
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
To have the
basically.
biggest flag in the
biggest flag,
community.
yeah, in the
That is very
community.
interesting because I remember when I was little, we used to decorate the entire lanes.
Exactly.
From one house to another, there were used to be little flags on a rope, and it used to hang with lights in between. It was such a beautiful scenario. But I feel recently the spirit has dimmed down. Do you feel like that sometimes, that the spirit that when we were little, we used to be very enthusiastic about it, but maybe I've moved out of the community and I'm living in a civilian atmosphere, so maybe that is a little different. So do you feel that way?
But no, I do contradict here. From my point of view, I have seen more spirit right
Okay,
now.
that's
Even
great.
particularly in the last 2 years, The way it was celebrated, in particularly in the Sindh, that was tremendous. In particular, Karachi, you know, because there is the, I mean, the Qaed's Madar is
Mausoleum
over
of
there.
Qaeda Azam as
Exactly.
well.
So that's why they go around there. The spirit is still being increased, maybe because of the globalization effort, because of the social media activism. In the previous states, it was very difficult to mobilize the people.
That is true.
Sometimes they usually sit in the home. They were not aware whether the Independence Day is being celebrated and what would be the venue. But right now, it's a social media. Once you put it on the Facebook, it can easily be viral and come to the noise. I mean, and come to the ears of the students and everybody that here is the place where
That
people
you have
are
to gather.
gathering. Yeah, so that's
Definitely.
the spirit has been increasing.
We'll talk more on the role of social media in celebrating patriotism, and furthermore, now let's move on to Dr. Nirmal. So, what is your fondest memory as a child when you used to celebrate Independence Day?
My fondest memory is whenever it is Independence Day, first we get up early, then we get ready to go to church, and then we celebrate it. Then we pray for Pakistan. There is special prayer for Pakistan, for the prosperity and peace of Pakistan. And then we come back, and then we, while going back, we see all the lightings on the road, and then my mom and dad, they will buy us firecrackers. And while I was in university, I thought that maybe we cannot celebrate it the way we used to celebrate in Pakistan. So what we used to do is we made a homemade flag, Pakistani flag, and then we bought small lanterns and firecrackers. And then we used to go to the lake beside our university, and then we used to celebrate it there.
Oh, that sounds
So
interesting.
it was so great.
Right, that is so interesting. If you can share some pictures with us as well regarding that, that'll
Yeah,
be great.
of course.
Yes, that is very interesting. People celebrate it differently. So let us know how you celebrate it as well on our social media accounts so that we can incorporate it later in the show as well. Okay, so His Excellency, if we talk about interfaith harmony, because I believe it is very important to talk about such topics, keeping in view the rising nationalism and the rising extremism we're witnessing in the rest of the world. So how important do you feel the role of religious institutions is in incorporating the sense of brotherhood among different sections and among different religions in a country or a nation?
Interfaith harmony is very important, especially in the context of Pakistan, but as well in the context of the whole world. The Catholic Church from 1965, when the Second Vatican Council was called, there it was decided that the Church will take a step, move forward to have dialogue with all the religions of the world. So since that time, the Christian community is very much engaged with the interfaith dialogue. Even in Pakistan, we as the Catholic bishops, we call our Catholic bishop the Conference of Bishops. We have a commission for inter-religious dialogue on national level, which is very much engaged with ulmas and with other religions to have dialogue and to promote interfaith harmony and social harmony in the society. And we in Pakistan, I think we are moving towards a very positive direction, because I've been in Lahore, I have been in Faisalabad, now I am Bishop of Islamabad and Rawalpindi. We are moving towards having good relationship with ulmas, and it is very important, because the problem when it is the problem in the society, many disputed and the problem are resolved with the help of ulmas and mulanas who are in relationship with us, and we go together to find a solution for the problem. So in many ways we have found a solution together of these problems. Plus now I see many institutions, like in schools, the children are meeting each other. The Muslim, there is an interaction between the students of different faiths. So that is giving a positive message and understand. Of course, we need to grow more towards interfaith harmony. So because it is very important to understand the faith of each other.
Right, and I would like to add to that, because the importance is also of acceptance. Acceptance of people who are different than you, who hold different ideologies, because that is what makes a community strong. That is what makes a community progressive. Because if you have people, like-minded people, and there's no other opinion or there's no other point of view, then I think that makes you stagnant, and that curtails growth in all spheres. So I believe it is very important to expand your horizons, to meet people who are different than you, who belongs to different cultures, religions, because that really helped me a lot in understanding different point of views and expanding my own horizons. So I believe it is very important in today's day and age.
Yeah,
so,
Rita, I want to highlight one thing here. We need to understand that the world is created by only one God, one Allah.
exactly.
So we, all human beings, are created by one. So why we are fighting, or
Fine.
why there is a difference?
Exactly, and every religion preaches peace. There's not a single religion on this planet that gives a teaching that is against the spirit of peace and brotherhood. And I don't know why people confuse it with destruction and with chaos and with evil. Religions are meant for peace, and they're meant for development, and they're meant for prosperity of human beings as individuals and as a community as well. So sir, we were talking about the role institutions play in order to promote interfaith harmony. What role do you think social media can play in order to do that?
If you recall that the social media, it was flourished in early 20s basically. Yeah. Before that, there were the passive websites over there. The main objective of social media was to promote the interconnectivity, the internetworking of the people. It was not written in the social media that internetworking of only Muslims or internetwork only Hindus over there. So the basic purpose or the basic premise of the social media was to promote the internetworking.
A global world.
So in my point of view, if we want to promote more interfaith, so that means we need to use this platform for giving the awareness, as you talked about what the religion is basically. It's not about the evilness, it's about the basically growth and peace and harmony. So we need to put a positive awareness about these particular aspects of the religion on the social media, with the objective that all the people, whether they belong to the Hinduism or they belong to the Christianity or they belong to any Islamic religion, but the point here is to give them the message that religion is all about the peace. Awareness, right awareness and the right messages are being floated on the social media, we can achieve our targets very well. Ultimately, we have to think very carefully. We have to educate our children according to what the vision of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, what he has thought for the Pakistan, whether this particular thing is being, prevailing in the Pakistan or not. If some element, the fractional percentage of the element, they are using the social media to provide the negative particular image of the Pakistan, we need to eradicate it. And that's very, very important.
And we have to take strict measures in this regard. I remember Prime Minister Imran Khan also tweeted that strict action will be taken against those people who attack the minority groups or the non-Muslims in Pakistan. And that is the spirit of this government as well, to create a harmonious environment in Pakistan, because that is the foundation of Pakistan. That was the dream of the father of the nation, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, to create an inclusive environment for all religions to practice what they want to with their own will. So, Dr. Nirmal, if we go on a lighter note of things, because somebody told me that you are a great singer as well and you like singing. Yeah. So, would you like to sing a national song or whatever you like, a Milli Naghma or anything that you personally like the best?
Yeah, of course. सोहनी धरती अल्लाह रखे कदम कदम आबाद, कदम कदम आबाद तुझे, कदम कदम आबाद। सोहनी धरती अल्लाह रखे, तेरा हर एक जरा हमको अपनी जान से प्यारा, तेरे दम से शान हमारी देखें आबाद, हम देखें आबाद तुझे, हम देखें आबाद। सोहनी धरती अल्लाह रखे, कदम कदम आबाद, कदम कदम आबाद तुझे, कदम कदम आबाद।
Wonderful.
Wow, that was amazing. You are so good. You should definitely give it a thought. After you're done with your studying, you should definitely audition for some place because, mashallah, you were amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So, His Excellency, that was really good. Sorry. So, if we talk about the impact of such programs and such interfaith harmonious programs that are very important for the communities to come together. So do you think you've organized any such events that has the Muslims and the Hindus and the Sikhs and the Christians that can come together in a platform so they can have a direct people-to-people contact and can understand each other very just like that, directly understanding development?
No, these kind of programs are very important. Already we are doing like the seminars,
Right.
sports events also being held, interaction in the schools is there, but we need to promote more these kind of programs.
Right, that is absolutely true, and that is important to highlight as well. And state media, Pakistan Television, always supports and always tries its best to highlight such initiatives. And this initiative itself is to highlight the achievements of the people of the community that have played a very vital role in building Pakistan up. So, sir, Mr. Mahesh, if we talk about the way forward to inculcate tolerance in the young minds. So what do you think the first step is? What steps should the government take in order to make sure that they generate or they create a community that is tolerant, that is acceptant of the foreign religions or foreign cultures?
I think the step has already been taken by the government, as you talked about the tweet of the Prime Minister Imran Khan. Because whenever he talks about the interfaith harmony, believe me, it gives a louder message to the entire the minorities of the Pakistan. Even they are living in the global world, they appreciate a lot. Their comfort level, their confidence level is increased. So this is the step has already been taken by the government. And this is the first step which basically gives the confidence to the minorities. Now, Interfaith Harmony Ministries over, they are, I mean, on the different occasions, they are organizing the different festivals where I have attended a lot of festivals over there. I mean, Muslims, Hindus, Christians, they sit together, they talk each other. We don't feel any type of that this is your function, this is not your function. Not like that. So this needs to be promoted. That's a very, very important, and for which I really gives credit to this government, which has already taken a very, very bold steps. And what we have seen in the neighboring country, which are extremely doing in the opposite direction.
Yes.
And for that, we are very thankful to the Prime Minister Imran Khan, and we want this particular momentum to be continued in order to give confidence to the minorities. That's very important.
That is important.
Yeah, because now when I recall my memories in terms of the interfaith, I attended around 3 universities over there, one in the London, one in the Karachi, and one in the Hyderabad. Believe me, in all those universities, whatever the festival comes, either it's a Happy Eid, or it's a Diwali, or it's a holy function, or anything else, we celebrate it just like we are the one, basically. I still recall during the Ramzan Sharif, I mean, my friends always tell me that the first Ramzan, the first iftar party will be held at the home of the Mahesh. And that gives me the honor, basically. So that's the interfaith harmony, basically. And since this government has come into power, we have rightly witnessed this interfaith harmony is being promoted from the government point of view, and that gives us the confidence. This momentum should be continued, and more should be done in order to promote the interfaith harmony.
Right, that is absolutely true. And right, you mentioned that in the neighboring countries we're witnessing, like in our neighboring country India, there's a rising Hindutva extremism ideology of RSS inspired by the Nazi regime. So what is your take on that? Why do you think such kind of sentiments are prevailing there?
In fact, what we have analyzed is that that particular the Hindutva, I mean the ideology is being, I mean flourished or being pursued over there. It's basically they want to stimulate, or we can say maneuver their populace basically, and in their mind that this India is for the Hindus only, which is the wrong ideology.
Yes.
But because majority of the people think over that, that's why they are pursuing that. But they must not forget that sometimes majority means all the fools on the same side.
Yeah.
So this is what we are happening over there. The ideology of the India, for which the India was basically become the independent. It was a secular state. I was seeing one of the, I mean the YouTube channel, I mean YouTube video over there. The person, if I recall correctly, Nathuram, who murdered Mahatma Gandhi, he was given the state of the god over there.
Yeah.
So this is not the secular state. This is not the basic vision of, I mean, the independence movement was there in order to get rid of the Britons basically.
Exactly.
It was not to get rid of Muslims. It was later on, then they felt that this is the two nation theory and Muslims have to live in the majority of the, where the Muslims live and the Hindus must live. There wasn't something like that, that you, I mean, murdered the person who started the independence movement and you now treat him as one of the god of the Hinduism. So this is, I mean, ridiculous, and this is totally uneducated.
Totally absurd.
That's totally absurd. So my point of view is that if you look at the different countries where there is the extremist factor appears, they collapsed. In the certain period might be the people are with them, they said the 70% are with us, but 70% or 80%, if they are doing the wrong thing, they are not according to the principles of the liberty or the principles of the freedom, principles of the democracy. I mean, you need to think about why this nation was created, why this, I mean, the Pakistan was created, why the India was created. It was not created like that. The Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah never talked about that this is the pure Muslim state. They also talked about every religion can, I mean, pursue their faiths over here. And same thing happened over there in the India. When the India became the independent Muslims, they never talked about that we are the Muslim, we are the Indians over there. So same ideology should be continued. It's in the interest of the interfaith harmony. If this is being damaged, it's a big loss to the entire population they are living in the world.
Definitely. That is absolutely true, because extremism damages the community and you as well. If you have such strong hate in your heart towards a certain community, it is so detrimental to your health. It affects it adversely. So being only taking care of yourself is important, and for that you must have a sound mind, a complete respect for other cultures, because that is how you as a person, as a human being, can have a soul that is rejuvenated by every religion out there and can enjoy the beauty of diversity and the diversity of cultures. That is absolutely true. So Dr. Nirmal, if we talk about your role as a Christian woman who is serving in Pakistan, being a doctor, this is such a nice thing that you're doing for the people. So do you feel that your community supports your decision, and how has they played a part in what you want to do in the future?
I would like to say that, yeah, of course, my community supports me a lot. And I would say that my friends and my family, they supported me a lot. Even if it's my relatives or everyone in my community, even it's about my church, everyone supports me a lot. So in the future, I would love to serve my country.
Right. And being a doctor, a lady doctor, how do you feel about this honor?
It's a great feeling, I would say.
Right. That is absolutely true, because I believe the field of doctors, they're playing such an important role in this pandemic as well, in COVID-19. They're on the front line, they're risking their lives, they're risking their family members as well, but they are on duty 24/7 out there trying to curb the spread of COVID-19 as well. So His Excellency, if we talk about a message for the youth, what kind of message would you like to give on this special day on 14th of August for the people who are watching us?
First of all, I would like to wish all the nation a very happy Independence Day. Secondly, my personal motto as a bishop is peace and hope. And I would like to give a message of peace and hope, especially to our youth, because youth is 60 or 70% of population of Pakistan, that we have to work for peace and give hope to our people. So peace doesn't only mean that there is no war. Peace, a single person can be without peace when he is facing the problems in life, difficulties of personal life. So how to help people to become peaceful? If one person is peaceful, a family will be peaceful, because one person in a family can disturb the whole family.
That is true.
And if the family is peaceful, then the society will become peaceful. And if the society is peaceful, the nation and the country will become peaceful. And there are many people who are suffering due to different problems, especially in the time of COVID-19. We see the people, they are suffering, they have lost the job. So those people whom God had blessed with many things, they are out to come forward to help these people, so that they become a source of peace and hope to our people.
That is absolutely true. That was a great message, because it talked about communities coming together, individuals coming together for peace and for harmony and for a collective society that is free of all evils, free of all hate towards one another, because that is not how country prospers. They have to come together. All the communities have to be under one flag, because we are one nation. We are Pakistanis, all of us, and we should accept that, and we should live up to the responsibility as well. So, Mr. Mahesh, if we talk about the role as a Pakistani, do you feel that people acknowledge that being a citizen, you just not have to think about yourself, but you also have to think about the country as well? So whatever you do, it should be for yourself as well, but also think about the country, because if we talk about corruption, if we talk about such practices that are damaging the country, so what is your take on that?
You are very right, because you know, we are Pakistani. If Pakistan is there, we are here.
Definitely.
Whatever we do, if we do for ourselves and we don't think about the Pakistan, then ultimately our identity will be lost. So whatever we do, we must think on that what we are doing is in the interest of the Pakistan or not. That's very, very important. Whatever the religion you are, or you belong to, whatever the caste you belong to, whatever the province you belong to, but the ultimate thing is that you are Pakistani.
That is true, because we are all ambassadors of Pakistan, and wherever we go, we need to keep this in mind, that we are representing Pakistan, and Pakistan is our identity. Whatever respect, whatever opportunity we get is because of this motherland, and it is very important to highlight this and to keep this in mind while you do anything that comes to your mind. So, Dr. Nirmal, if we talk about your experience in China, because China is a brotherly country of Pakistan, so how was the Pakistani community over there with you, and what role do you guys play in being the ambassadors of Pakistan?
Being an ambassador of Pakistan, we had a really good time, and we were always thinking that we are from Pakistan, so our identity is as a Pakistani. So we should keep the image of Pakistan really high, and we should we should not do anything which deteriorates the image of Pakistan. So whenever I would say the Chinese, they are so good and they're so friendly with us. They always say that
China, Pakistan, brothers.
Yeah. Long live Pakistan, China, and friendship.
It is impressive. So, His Excellency, now if we talk about the festivities, like in Christianity, we observe Christmas, we celebrate Easter. So, do you feel that you have all that room to celebrate your religious festivals here in Pakistan?
Yeah, surely. We celebrate Christmas, Easter with zeal and zest, and on those occasions we also pray for Pakistan, our own country, and the people celebrating Christmas or Easter or other festivals. We celebrate with great joy and freedom, and that is a part of our life here in Pakistan, that we are able to conduct different programs beside our other festivals also. So it's a
Right.
great time to share our joy and happiness among our Christian community, as well as with our brothers and sisters who are living around us in Pakistani society.
That is exciting because Christmas always seems to intrigue me the most, because you know it is the time and the snow is there and people are just celebrating, and it is very interesting. So how do you, can you walk me through the day? How do you celebrate it, Christmas?
Well, Christmas is a busy time. For me as a bishop, it is a very busy time because I have to go and participate in different programs. Especially the singing is very important at the time of
Yeah.
Christmas, because it's a time of joy, and we sing songs about the birth of Christ, and different programs are held about music, about singing. And then at the families they prepare festival dinners, then the lunches, and different cakes. Cakes are very part of this Christmas
interesting.
festival. And of course they go out also with the families. The families, they come together, all brother and sister, and they enjoy.
That
And
is
they also
incredible.
make the scenes of the birth of Christ.
And there
Yes,
are
scripts are made.
scripts
Yeah,
are made,
yeah.
and then performances are done as well.
Yes.
Right. That is
Yes.
very interesting.
And it's very important. Other brother and sister, our Muslim friends, they greet us, they come to greet us, meet us, and they wish us a very happy Christmas. So we are in a good relationship with all those our friends who are close to us, and this means they are interested in our life, they are interested in our festivals. And
It
they
is
greet
always a
us.
joy because,
Yeah.
you know, you as Muslims, we have our own Eid and own festivals, and then we have another opportunity to celebrate more of such events that are so festive and so lively and makes you feel joy and happiness, and nothing short of that. It is amazing how the diversity can actually add value to your life. So, Mr. Mahesh, I would like to ask you the same question, that how do you celebrate your religious occasions here?
In fact, in Islamabad, I just want to, I will take this opportunity to give you the instance. In the last year, I think most of the Hindu communities were not available over here, but in the 2018 and 17, we celebrated the Holi festival at Lok Varsa. It was the Lok Varsa management, they gave us the space. And not only they gave us the space to celebrate the Holi, in the Holi function what we do, we put the colors on each
Yeah,
other.
Holi, yeah.
And it was the Lok Varsa who invited the Muslim friends, the Christian friends, and certainly we were the part of that. It was, I do recall that during that particular festival, the management of the senior manager of the management, they come forward, they gave us the lecture on the Holi, even those things which were not heard by the Hindus as well. Why the Holi is being celebrated? What is the historical significance? So it was coming to us from the Lok Varsa, and that was the point where every Hindu felt that this is the Pakistan, this is the where the diversity basically is the prime factor. So that's very, very important. Apart from that, believe me, during the Eid festivals, most of the Hindus, they don't cook anything. The meal or the whatever, I mean the big, what you call it, the delicious, I mean the items, they come from the Muslim families to the Hindus. They come over there, they meet us. So that's a very tremendous, I mean, the occasion over there, because on every Eid, I could say that the Hindus are as happy as like the Muslims. They meet each other. I mean, whatever the festivals the Muslims carry out, they become part of that, and they don't cook anything on that particular day, because they know we will eat whatever it's coming from the
other houses. Oh,
basically.
that is great, because I love the food that we receive from other houses, because it is really delicious. I think you prefer food from the outside as compared to from the inside. It is amazing how such events exist and how they play a very important role in spreading happiness around us. And Holi itself is a colorful festival, and I would love to celebrate it someday. So next time you have to invite me, okay?
100% done.
So, Dr. Nirmal, what is your favorite festivity and how do you celebrate it here in Pakistan?
Okay, so my favorite is both Christmas and Easter.
Okay.
So when I'm in Pakistan, first thing we do is get up early, go to church, and then there is last minute, of course. Before Christmas, there is always last minute shopping, and we decorate our houses with fairy lights and Xmas trees, and it's so beautiful. And then there is always a feast with relatives,
Oh,
and which
that's
is
nice.
really special. So we sometimes exchange gifts with each other, and sometimes exchange gifts with our Muslim friends, and that is also so special because they respect our festival and they give us gifts and cards, and that is so special. And then after that, yeah, and I would also like to appreciate our state who gives security to our churches for our festivals, Christmas and Easter.
So right, you're absolutely right. The state plays a very important role in safeguarding the interest and the whole, I think, atmosphere of the communities here in Pakistan. And I believe it is very important to highlight this role of the state because the present government is focusing on safeguarding the rights of minorities in all spheres. And it is very important that we as citizens, as individuals, also play a part in that. And now in the studios of Lahore, we have been joined by Taranjeet Singh. He is one of the anchors at Pakistan Television and a very energetic, funny individual. He is always full of joy, and it is always a pleasure to be with him. Thank you so much, Taranjeet, for being with us on this very special day.
Thank you, Rida, for inviting me to our occasion, which is like we had this Minority Day 2 days back, and now we have a 14 August. So thank you very much for inviting me in that kind of show where you have people from other side of Pakistan which represent the white flag, and I'm feeling happy to be part of these people from minorities sitting in the studio. And from my side, Sat Shri Akal, Salam, Namaste to everyone. And I would say this 14 August is a special day for us because we are the one who fight with the coronavirus, and we are one of the few states who have actually really grown up with this pandemic, and we have actually delivered in that better way. So thank you very much for inviting me for this occasion.
So Taranjeet, first of all, I would like to ask you that how do you feel being a member of the Pakistani Sikh community?
Well, it's a privilege to be part of Pakistan, and I feel myself as equal Pakistani as the majority. And being Sikh, we have a very special affiliation with Pakistan just because this land is the land of Sikhs, and the founder of Sikh religion, Baba Guru Nanak Ji, was born in Nankana Sahib. And then there are a lot of gurdwaras and a lot of Sikh culture heritage buildings are all over Pakistan. So we have a very strong and very emotional attachment with this land of Pakistan. For me, it's a double because being a Pakistani and being a Sikh, it's become double. But for Sikhs around the world, there's a special connection with Pakistan because the Sikh faith and a lot of Sikh eras, Sikh gurdwaras, Sikh temples belong to Pakistani land. And being Pakistani, when we go out and we went to the streets and we see people love Sikh people, love the turban, love the affiliation with the turban, and especially in Punjab, when that was a pre-partition, people were used to live in a mixed community. So it's always a pleasure and a privilege, I would say, to live in Pakistan and represent Pakistan. I go off and on around the world, but when I land back to Lahore or any part of Pakistan, I feel, yeah, I'm on the land which belongs to me, and I belong to that land. So feel immense happy, pleasured, and blessed, I would say, to be part of this land diversified culture and a society which believes in love and which believes in the message of Sufis and saints. Across the belt, we have a different culture, we have different looks, we have different ethnicity, but at the same time, we believe in that harmony, coexistence.
And Taranjeet, you're hosting this program on Pakistan Television, Har Dil Bole Pakistan, that made you travel across the country. So how would you describe this experience?
Well, for me, it was a dream come true because I was waiting for, desperately waiting for such kind of a program or a project that I can travel across Pakistan and I can show beautiful, lovely and lively Pakistan, because I know the people on ground, they have a good land, they have a beauty, and as a society, they live with a coherence. We have lots of problems in the society, I would say, but at the same time, if you go there and you spread around Pakistan, you go to from mountains to from north to south and from east to west, west side, you will find people are loving, people are caring about one another, people share their bread, and at the same time, the land belongs to us. Pakistan is a beautiful land actually. You have mountains, you have rivers, you have the desert, you have beaches, every kind of beauty which we can relate with the nature is with Pakistan. So I travel a lot Pakistan, being a travel blogger, being a travel host, you know, I explore whole Pakistan. I find love within the people, I find the care for one another, and I find that people wants to progress, wants to earn more, wants to grow their children, and in the era of modern technology, so everyone is associated in that way. At the same time, when I travel across Pakistan, I explore different foods, different languages, different cultures, and I learn lots of new languages, and this is the beauty of Pakistan. And if I compare the landscape beauty of Pakistan with any other country, many country will have the sea beaches. We have 1,000-kilometer sea coastal highway from Karachi all the way to Gawada. Beautiful, more than 30 places I discovered. These are the beautiful beaches that can be, in a future, that can be an attraction for around the world. When I travel to the mountain region from Kashmir to Gilgit-Baltistan to KPK, even to the upper side of Punjab, there's a weather change, there's a beauty, there's a culture, there's at the same time beauty in the nature, there's an atmosphere that developing up, there's a ground structure that is being prepared for tourism, that in next few years you will have more hotels, motel guest houses, more infrastructure in Pakistan. And at the same time, if you see these people who belongs to those areas of mountains and rivers and sea, they are very hospitalized people. They love to see guests from other cities, they love, they host, and there is a peace. Let me tell you one thing, if you travel across north, you will not be in hesitation that my car is it safe or not, I'm safe or not, but they're the people, they will protect you, and they learn that tourists is our guest, not someone who are paying us, but at the same time they are a guest. So there's a peace, there's a love, there's a harmony, there is love, and there is liveness all over Pakistan. So my experience is very, very unique, and I show to the people the way I show in my travel show Har Dil Bole Pakistan, that Pakistan is a country where people laugh, where people enjoy, where people eat, where people smile, where people welcome people from other cities. So my experience was totally different, which we are expecting that going from outside, from big cities, the people will be harsh towards you, the people will consider you from your dress up, the people may be so critical about where you wear, what you eat, and this and that. But no, they are very different, and technology has changed a lot, and people in these remote areas are now very close with the technology.
That's absolutely wonderful. So Taranji, do you find that equal opportunities are there for all the communities residing in Pakistan?
Well, frankly speaking, Pakistan has been changed in last 10-15 years a lot. In the previous, we saw Christian community was contributing in the education sector. Hindu community was more contributing towards business and towards health. But now the opportunities are open. We have people in different fields, and recently in the police department, we have people from Hindu community, from Christian community. We had earlier, now Sikh youngsters have been given a chance to serve in the police. At the same time, we have people in army, we have people in education academia. We have people in media and being Pakistani. When I was a first ever Sikh TV host and I joined Pakistan Television way back in 2010, I feel privileged. And in these 10 years, I would say I've been treated equally. And the atmosphere, when I saw within the office, within the studio, within the colleagues of Pakistan Television, I feel that they're all, treating one another equally. So there's a hell of opportunities available, but some issues are there, which is, I would say, in interior and the very remote areas about minorities. But for me, the satisfaction is that the state is, giving more and more opportunity. The society is realizing that peaceful coexistence is the solution of Pakistan. When we talk about the grey list, we talk about black list, we also talk about this minorities or non-Muslims in Pakistan. So day by day, people are, believing in diversity. People are becoming more open towards the other community, other faith. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of people who believe to have people from different groups in their businesses, in their offices, in their factories to work with. So things are being changed in last 10 years. Drastically, and this is the shining Pakistan, I would say. This is the incredible Pakistan which give opportunities to each and everyone. Having said that, we have lots of small, medium kind of issues, mostly related to sin, and I believe that in the next 5 years, these issues can be addressed as well. But tolerance, acceptance in peaceful coexistence, I would say this is the future of Pakistan.
So Taranjeet, lastly I would like to ask you your parting message for the Sikh community in Pakistan in particular and the entire nation in general on this very, very special day.
Well, my message on this occasion is that we all celebrate 14 August, we all celebrate 23rd March, but we believe that a nation, a grown nation, should have some targets in front of them. So let's believe that we should not waste our water. Let's believe that we should create more environment. Let's plant more trees. Let's join hand with Prime Minister of Pakistan or anybody who wants to make Pakistan a green Pakistan. Let's majority and minority comes together and make Pakistan a place where we all will live, and the next generation after generation will feel that there was a generation which was responsible, and they make that nation better and beautiful place for us. So being a responsible citizen, obey all the laws of your land, and also try your best to make this Pakistan more green, more clean. I would say that Pakistan belongs to all of us. So Pakistan Zindabad, hum sabka Pakistan. Together we are the solution. Together we are the beauty of Pakistan.
Thank you, Taranjeet Singh, for being with us on this very special day and giving your insight on this day and how you celebrate it. Thank you so much for your fun and energy always. So coming back to our guest in our studio, so parting message I would like to ask you. His Excellency, you already gave a message of peace, but like just sum it up in one line or two, the conclusion, what you want people to do on this very special day.
Well, the people should celebrate Independence Day with joy and happiness as they do always every year. And once again, when we are celebrating the Independence Day, we are happy that and remember the sacrifices of our elders who have given their life for the sake of Pakistan. But we, at present, we should continue to build on the steps that our forefathers have taken to contribute a good society, to build good human beings, and we all have to work hand in hand for the progress and prosperity of Pakistan.
We have to work hand in hand for the progress and prosperity of Pakistan. Very rightly said, His Excellency. Thank you so much for being with us. Sir, what is your parting message on this very?
I would like to give the message that Independence Day should be celebrated with the full vigor and the energy. Whatever the opportunity people get, they must celebrate. But you know, nowadays we are, experiencing the COVID-19 situation, so we have to follow the government instructions as well. And with the grace of the God, that right now the COVID-19 is being flattened, the curve is being flattened, but still it exists. So we follow the SOPs that have been provided by the government. With these SOPs, enjoy the Independence Day with the full energy. That's my message.
That is great, and I'm so glad you highlighted this, because we are observing, we are celebrating today as the 14th of August, the birthday of Pakistan, and it is very important to keep the prevailing situation in mind of COVID-19. Just like you said, we have flattened the curve, we are experiencing a downward trend, but it is very important to follow the SOPs, wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands. These kind of things can help you be safe from this very deadly pandemic, and together, only together can we beat this pandemic. So Dr. Nirmal, your parting words.
Yeah, I would like to say that there is a verse in Bible that God is love. So we should always spread love, never spread any negativity or hatred for anyone. And secondly, because youth is a great resource of our country, so I would say that our youth should work harder for the development and prosperity of our country, and become a role model for the successive generations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nirmal. That was a great message, and it was targeting the youth, because we are the future and we are the people who have to make sure that we make Pakistan one of the most progressive countries in the world. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here with us. It was a pleasant experience talking to you, conversing with you on this very special day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And on this note, we will conclude this special transmission, and I hope you enjoyed talking, you enjoyed the conversation, and you enjoyed the whole aspect of being an individualistic and a collective society as well. The spirit of togetherness, the spirit of unity should be within us in order to move forward, in order to progress as a nation, and that is the message for today. That is the message of 14th of August, to be united, be together, and become the best country in the world. Well, this is Rida Shah signing off. Pakistan Zindabad. Thank you.